Kleynhans is in studio. Nico is a financial advisor and definitely a friend of CCFM, having been a part of the organization for many, many years. But today, Nico, I love that you're wanting to talk about perceptions and the whole thing of the waiting game. Take it away for us, please, Nico.
Okay. I want to try, when I put this together, to talk about when you bake a cake and to try and see if that could make sense.
You got Rachel's attention right there.
But then I realized, well, today people tend not to bake cakes anymore. We go down to the bakery and we cheat. So let's see if that illustration is going to work. But the perceptions come from when you listen to news bulletins. And I have had a couple of people contact me, and particularly last night, for instance. A listener contacted me and complained that the all-share index yesterday fell by nearly 1%, by 0.66%.
Sure.
Fell in one day.
Okay, and that's the Johannesburg Stock Exchange.
The Johannesburg Stock Exchange all-share index. In other words, it gives you a photograph of how shares on the stock exchange performed in one day.
Okay.
So basically, all the shares dropped yesterday, and he was getting nervous. Another listener contacted me and said he's going to cancel his Old Mutual funeral policy. And when I said why, he said, well, Old Mutual shares have lost value over the past 12 months. And therefore, he thinks the company is going to go insolvent.
Oh, no.
And so now he's going to cancel his funeral policy. And again, of course, that is not a wise decision to make, because there is no link between the performance of the shares and the performance of his funeral policy. That link is not there. So I was wondering, well, what other perceptions do people have that can be wrong, especially around the investments? So firstly, let me say it's good that people are listening to financial news. It's important. If you don't listen to financial news, you're going to end up in a world where it's going to affect you, especially when you get to retirement. But in spite of what appears to be bad news from what I've just mentioned, notice I'm still smiling.
Story.
Now, that either means I'm entering a happy state of losing my mind, and so I'm smiling because I'm out of touch.
No.
Or it could be that my doctor needs to revisit my medication, and that is affecting me. Or it could be that there's a secret that I could share with you, and that it's not bad news that I have described.
Sure.
And I'm going to try and point out that financial news, if you look at it over a one-day period, that does not inform on what is really happening in the economy.
Brilliant.
Now, if I look at the all-share index, yes, it fell by 0.66% in one day. That is true. Absolutely, that is true. And if I look at how the all-share index has performed in this financial year, in other words, from the 1st of January this year to date, I now see that we've almost lost all the gains that we've had this year.
Oh.
So in other words, it looks like all the gains we've had this year, we've lost. So we are back to where we were at the start of the year.
Okay.
That could look like bad news, but it's a half glass full, half glass empty. Another way of looking at that is if you're buying into the index today, you're getting it at the price that you would have paid on the 1st of January.
Okay.
So you can't look at things with a closed mind. You've got to say, what are the implications? And that's where your financial planner comes in, because they are trained to look at this. They understand how to read the stats. They've been trained. They've had 4 or 5 years of academic training. They know how to explain. And if they don't know how to explain, you shouldn't be working with them anyway.
True story.
So Don't necessarily look only at what happens at 6 o'clock in the evening when the financial news is released on radio. That's not a good place to get all of your financial news. So let me tell you what I look at when I look at, for instance, the All Share Index. I notice that over the last 10 years, we've averaged 12.39% growth per annum.
Okay.
That's in spite of COVID. That's in spite of an incompetent government, which we do have,
Yeah.
that messes up the economy. That index has still performed at 12.39%
Sure.
per annum.
That's impressive.
So it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. You've got to look at a longer picture in order to get a perception of what your investments could be doing. So now I want to get to the cake story.
Yes.
My grandmother used to teach us a couple of things. When you bake a cake, don't open that oven door every 5 minutes. If you do, you're not going to get a cake. You're going to end up with a pancake. Don't open the oven door. If you do bake a cake, don't forget to switch the oven off, and don't leave the cake there indefinitely, because then you're going to get a rusk.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a cake. It's the same with investments. Investments are not designed to be made looking at it on a daily basis and then making financial decisions based on that. You can't do that. Then you're opening the oven and looking at it every couple of minutes. You're going to make bad decisions. Nor are investments designed to invest now and then to only look at it 10 years later.
Okay.
That's also going to be a bad news. You've got to look at it more frequently than that. But by and large, if you don't invest, you're going to regret it when you get to your pensionable age, because what has been put away at your place of employment is not going to be enough. And why I'm able to say so emphatically is because we know it's not enough for 96% of people who are on a pension scheme and who retire.
Sure.
It's unlikely to be enough for you as well. So you do need to invest independently. You do have to have a strategy, but get help.
Yeah.
There are people out there who can help you. And then, just as you enjoy the cake you've baked, you can enjoy your retirement in peace.
Sure.
Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Nico Kleynhans.